Every murder starts long before the weapon is picked up. It starts the moment someone decides they deserve more, no matter the cost. That neighborhood slept peacefully, street lights humming, windows locked, families dreaming. No one heard the warning signs because obsession doesn't knock, it waits. Inside a quiet American home, a woman lay dead, not from chaos, not from rage, from something colder, from choice. Paul Solomon lived 2 lives, and both were lies. By day, he was the man people trusted, respectable, calm, predictable, a husband with a future neatly planned. By night, he was starving for escape. Then Carolyn walked in. She wasn't reckless, she wasn't loud, she was controlled, and that made her dangerous. She listened when others talked. She noticed what Paul hid. She made him feel important in ways his marriage no longer did. What started as conversation turned into dependency, not love, need. Paul needed attention. Carolyn needed ownership. They told themselves it was temporary, that nobody would get hurt, that secrets could stay buried forever. That's how all tragedies begin. Carolyn knew her place, and she hated it. She watched Paul return every night to a woman who didn't even know she was being replaced in his mind. A wife who laughed, cooked, planned a future, completely unaware that another woman was memorizing her life piece by piece. Jealousy didn't explode, it fermented. Carolyn didn't want Paul to leave his wife anymore. She wanted his wife erased, and that thought scared her until it didn't. The night everything ended didn't feel dramatic. No screaming neighbors, no broken doors, just silence. When police arrived, the house told a strange story, not rushed, not messy, almost deliberate. As if whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing and had time to think. Paul was the obvious suspect, too obvious. Grief looked rehearsed. Shock felt delayed. Detectives noticed something else, something colder than guilt. Relief. Then they found Carolyn. Not physically, but everywhere else. Phone records that wouldn't stop talking, witnesses who remembered the other woman, a pattern that slowly drew a circle around her. She wasn't hysterical, she wasn't broken, she was calm, too calm, and calm after murder is never innocence, it's control. As the investigation deepened, Carolyn's past began to crack open. The perfect image started peeling away, revealing obsession stitched tightly beneath the surface. She didn't see herself as the villain. She saw herself as the solution. In her mind, this wasn't murder, it was correction. Paul belonged to her. The wife was the mistake, and mistakes get fixed. That's the truth no one wants to admit. Some killers don't hate their victims, they erase them. The house that once felt safe now felt staged. The marriage everyone admired was a lie, and the affair, it was never about love, it was about power. By sunrise, one woman was gone forever. One man was trapped between fear and survival. And one woman stood perfectly still, watching a story she thought she controlled slowly turn against her. But the real horror? This was just the beginning, because obsession doesn't end with death. It only changes its target. The scariest killers don't panic. They plan. After the funeral, everyone expected tears, breakdowns, guilt. What they saw instead was silence. Paul avoided eye contact. His grief felt heavy but hollow, like a man mourning a ruined future, not a dead wife. Detectives noticed it instantly. Fear was missing. Carolyn, on the other hand, stayed composed. She didn't hide. She spoke softly, carefully, like every sentence had already been rehearsed in her head. No shaking hands, no emotional cracks, just calm answers that felt controlled. And calm after a murder is never innocence, it's confidence. Investigators rebuilt the timeline slowly, piece by piece. Calls, movements, gaps that shouldn't exist. The deeper they looked, the clearer it became this wasn't a crime of passion, it was preparation. Carolyn didn't lose control that night, she took it. She knew routines, she knew when the house would be quiet, she knew when nobody would be watching. That kind of knowledge only comes from obsession. Obsession turns people into students, and she had studied well. Paul tried to pull away once the pressure started. He tried to act like the grieving husband, but lies rot fast under heat. His story shifted, small details changed, timelines bent, and when investigators pushed harder, his loyalty cracked. Fear always beats love. He didn't protect Carolyn, he protected himself. And the moment he did that, her carefully built illusions started to collapse. Carolyn watched the investigation unfold, like someone watching their reflection break in glass. The control she once felt began slipping through her fingers. Friends grew distant, questions sharpened. The story she thought she owned was now being rewritten by detectives and prosecutors. Still, she didn't break. In her mind, she had already won. The wife was gone, the obstacle erased. She believed the hardest part was over. She was wrong. Evidence doesn't need to scream when it's strong, it whispers. A purchase made too close to the crime, movements that lined up too perfectly, coincidences stacked until they became impossible to ignore. Her calm stopped looking normal and started looking cold. Her intelligence stopped looking impressive and started looking dangerous. The narrative flipped. She was no longer the woman who loved too deeply. She was the woman who planned too carefully. The courtroom wasn't loud, it was surgical. Prosecutors didn't call her a monster. They didn't need to. They showed her mindset, how obsession slowly rewires morality, how jealousy turns into entitlement, how love mixed with control becomes lethal. Carolyn sat still, listening, expressionless, because she never believed she had done anything wrong. In her mind, she had corrected a mistake. When the verdict came, it landed like a locked door slamming shut. Guilty, not because she was emotional, because she was intentional. Paul finally understood the cost of his double life. He lost his wife, his reputation, and his peace. Carolyn lost control, the one thing she valued more than love. Prison doesn't scare people like her. Irrelevance does. No secrets, no power, just time, endless time. And time forces reflection, something obsession never allows. But the darkest truth remains. Some people don't regret what they did. They only regret being caught. Obsession doesn't end in courtrooms. It just changes its stage. Prison walls aren't bars to her mind. They're mirrors. Carolyn's reflection never shows guilt, it shows strategy. Every day behind concrete walls, she calculates, plans, and rewrites her story in a way only she understands. She's not serving time for what she did, she's serving time for being caught. And that truth eats at her more than loneliness or cold nights ever could. Inside her cell, she replays every moment, every look, every word, every step that led her here. She remembers Paul not as a lover, but as a tool, a man she bent without breaking. The wife she removed isn't just dead, she's a symbol, proof that obsession can win if you play it right. And yet, Carolyn feels no triumph, only control lost, power stripped. She paces her small room, thinking about what comes next. Obsession, she knows, doesn't die with conviction. It waits, sharp as ever. The prison guards see calm. The psychologists see compliance. No one sees the storm beneath her skin. Inside, she sketches every angle of her past crime like a chessboard. Every move she made is memorized, justified, celebrated silently. In her mind, she isn't evil, she's correcting life's mistakes. Love, desire, jealousy, they are weapons, and she wielded them flawlessly, until the law decided otherwise. Outside, Paul's life unravels in quiet increments. Friends avoid him, gossip follows him. He can't trust anyone because everyone now knows the story of the dead wife, the other woman, the betrayal, the planning. He has survived physically, but not socially. Carolyn may be behind bars, but she still controls how he moves, who he trusts, how he lives. That's the long shadow of obsession. It lingers, unseen but heavy, shaping lives beyond the crime scene. Inside the prison yard, Carolyn watches other women, the conversations, the alliances. She calculates, she adapts, she observes. Prison is a different world, but strategy is the same. She's always 2 steps ahead in a place where most are 1 step behind. Some call her cold, some call her dangerous, but in her own mind, she's untouchable because she knows the rules nobody else sees. Obsession, after all, is a teacher no one wants to learn from. Letters arrive, court dates, appeals, media reports. She reads them like reports from another world, detached, analyzing, processing. The outside world thinks she regrets, cries, fears. She doesn't. She plans. Every sentence she writes, every lie she could tell is calculated. Her obsession has evolved. Murder was the first act. Being caught is the second. Mastering her legacy is Act 3. And legacy, she knows, lasts longer than prison walls. The hardest part for Carolyn is reflection. Prison forces it. Reflection makes obsession patient, and patience sharpens the mind. She knows the story isn't over. It can't be. Love, power, jealousy, they will find new targets, new angles. She just has to wait, watch, and control quietly from a distance. And that's scarier than anything she did before. Because the world sees a guilty woman behind bars. Carolyn sees the world as her chessboard, and she's only just started playing. Somewhere the question lingers. Did she ever love Paul? Did she ever care about his wife? Carolyn doesn't need answers. In her eyes, possession is love, obsession is devotion, and control is justice. The real horror is simple. She isn't finished. She never will be. Obsession doesn't end. It waits, learns, adapts, and strikes in ways no one expects. Time doesn't heal. It sharpens. And for Carolyn, prison time became a weapon. Years behind bars didn't break her, they honed her. Every news article, every rumor, every court appeal, she tracked like a hawk. She was invisible to the world, but in her mind, she controlled every move. Paul's life, the whispers of the neighborhood, the curiosity of strangers, they all existed on her chessboard. She wasn't a prisoner, she was the observer, and observers always strike smarter. Then came the day of the appeal. The media buzzed. Paul felt the weight of old secrets resurfacing. Everyone expected Carolyn to crumble, but she didn't. She walked into that courtroom calm, composed, a faint smirk touching her lips. Years of obsession had taught her patience. The crime scene, the lies, the planning, they weren't mistakes, they were lessons, and she had learned them all perfectly. The judge, the jury, the cameras, none saw the storm behind her eyes. Outside, Paul had rebuilt parts of his life, small things, but ghosts never really leave. Every time he opened a door, heard a laugh, or saw a reflection, Carolyn's shadow followed. He realized too late that surviving the crime wasn't enough. The obsession didn't die, it just changed form. Carolyn's influence lingered like a virus, subtle, quiet, unstoppable. People called her guilty, dangerous, crazy. She called herself prepared. Every move calculated, every reaction predicted, and that's scarier than murder itself. Letters kept coming, appeals, media inquiries, sometimes signed by her, sometimes anonymous. Each note dissected Paul's mind. Each word was carefully crafted to provoke fear, doubt, regret. She played long game now, not murder, not violence, psychological control. She had become untouchable in a way the law could never punish. Obsession had evolved, and Paul was living proof of its reach. Inside prison walls, Carolyn taught herself more than law, psychology, or survival. She studied patterns, how people act when afraid, how guilt shapes decisions, how power doesn't need force, it needs patience. And patience, she realized, could last forever. That's the real lesson. The law could lock her body, but her mind, untouchable, endless, dominant, and the world outside would never truly be free. Then came whispers, new investigations, old friends calling, police reports she had long memorized resurfaced. Everyone thought the story ended with conviction. They were wrong. Carolyn's mind had already moved 10 steps ahead. Every outcome, every reaction she had predicted. The thrill wasn't in freedom or escape. It was in knowing the world still danced to her obsession, even from a cage. And that's a terror no one can prepare for. The ultimate truth? Carolyn never acted out of love. She acted out of possession. She never lost, she just changed the battlefield. Murder was the first strike, conviction was the illusion of punishment, and psychological dominion over those who once controlled her was her legacy. Paul, the neighborhood, the law, they all lived in her web, silent, invisible, manipulated. The world thought justice had been served. Carolyn knew better. Obsession is patient, obsession is eternal, and obsession always wins. By the end, the neighborhood slept uneasily. Police reports gathered dust, and Paul's life remained a cautionary tale. But Carolyn's story didn't end. It was a reminder. Control, power, obsession, they aren't bound by walls, cages, or rules. They exist in the mind, and the mind can reach anyone, anywhere. The chilling reality,
Some people aren't finished when we think they are. They're just biding their time. Carolyn Warmus wasn't a woman who killed once. She was a master of obsession, and obsession doesn't stop. It waits, watches, and strikes when you least expect it.